Hey mamas, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Zahara. I'm a wife, a mom, a child of God, a content creator, and so much more, y'all. I wear a lot of hats. Well, I wear a lot of head wrap. Today's video, I wanted to kind of reintroduce myself. I don't know if y'all have peeped or not, but I've deleted all of my old videos off of this account. I just don't feel like those videos really speak to my voice and the person who I'm becoming. I was also very inconsistent with posting, and I would go on these month-long hiatuses. So I just wanted a little bit of a restart. Going into this restart and kind of like this clean slate of my YouTube channel, I thought a really good video to kind of start it and jump it off would be like a little about me or a little reintroduction or introduction for new subscribers here to just who I am and a little bit about me and my life and etc. So my name is Zahara. A lot of people tend to ask me what that means, and it just means blooming a flower. It kind of has two meanings. So I picked this name, I chose this name when I decided to follow Christ. That is a different story that maybe one day I can share with you guys, but I chose this name because I see myself as like a little seedling, right? And over time, as I grow and I water myself with the word of God, I will, turn into a beautiful flower, a nice, blooming, radiant flower. So that's the whole spill on kind of what my name means and why I chose it. Like I said in the beginning, I'm a wife. My husband picked me. He chose me, okay? So we got married in 2018. I'm originally from Texas, and when we got married, I moved to Pennsylvania, and that's just where we live now. We've been married for almost 5 years. Next month, we'll be married for 5 years. So I won't gush too much about my husband or go into this long spill and rundown about our marriage. But I will say that I am just extremely proud of my husband and I, because during the 5 years that we have been married, we have been through so much stuff. Like, if you know me personally or if you follow my journey, even from our family vlog channel, you know that we have had a lot of turmoil, a lot of trials, mainly like dealing with children and things of that nature, which I will get to in a second. We've been through a lot of stuff, and we both got married pretty young. I believe I was 22 when we got married. He was 23, and that's pretty young in today's society to get married. And just being a young couple, very fragile and new, we experienced a lot of stuff very early on in our marriage, and the fact that we're still together and we're still working on building a really strong, successful marriage, I'm just really proud of us. Like, I'm so proud of us. We have just faced so much adversity, so many hardships throughout our marriage, and I just adore the husband that I have, because one thing that I really love about our relationship and our dynamic is that we're always constantly trying to improve, like looking and trying to see the problem areas that we have and finding a solution to better it. So I love being a wife. I know that in today's society, it is kind of frowned upon to be a wife and to be submissive to your husband and to be like a stay-at-home mom and to, lean on your husband and want a strong man to like lead you and guide you. I know it's frowned upon, but I absolutely love being a wife. There is nothing about city girl culture or hot girl culture or independent woman culture that appeals to me. I need my husband, and I know that it's frowned upon and it's looked down upon in communities, but listen, we need our men. And I think other cultures understand that they need their men, and I'm just trying to get into the new wave of young black women who understand like we need our black men. So other women who are on that wave, I appreciate y'all and I commend y'all, and we have to just go harder a little bit to show other black women and brown women that it's a glorious thing to be married. It is an honorable thing to be married. God loves marriage. The younger generations are looking at the generations before to set the standard and set the tone, and I believe marriage is the standard. It should be the tone, it should be the standard. I went on a little bit of tangent, but I love being married and I love my husband, okay? I'm sorry to gush about him, y'all, but I love my man. I'm also a mother. That just comes with the territory. I have been knocked up quite a few times, so let me give y'all the rundown of my children's, okay? So we have the twins, Jediah and Eden. They are 7, the firstborns, the heir to the throne, pretty much. Then we have Amira. She would have been 4 years old this month. She passed away when she was 3 months old due to Epstein's anomaly, and I will touch more on that in another video. I will also link my birth and delivery vlog series that I did regarding her birth and just kind of her life in the hospital and surgeries and all of these different things, but I will dive more into it probably in another video. Next we have Suri, our rainbow baby, and she's 2.5. Then we have Mahalia, which she would have been about 4 months old, and unfortunately I lost her and I had a stillbirth, and I will, you know, address that in another video as well. So I'm a mom of 3. Technically, I would have been a mom of 5 had the Most High not called some of our princesses home, but it's totally fine. I'm a mom of 3. Obviously, losing children is not something that I just want to gloss over, and I do want to dedicate a video to it, but I will say this. Losing my daughters, it's a really big part of my life. It has consumed a lot of my thoughts within the last 5 years. It has consumed a lot of my emotions. It's just consumed a lot of my life. So it is something that I battle constantly, that I think about daily, and that I have to overcome. I have to really push myself to overcome every single day. So I am a huge advocate for women who have experienced miscarriages, who have experienced stillbirths, who have experienced infantile loss. I am just in your corner. You know, I've been through it multiple times, so I'm an advocate for you, because I understand that when you are dealing with that, you feel alone. You feel like there's nobody who can relate to you. It is not something that we tend to talk about a lot in our communities. We normally think that you go from being pregnant to having this baby, and it is a straight and narrow journey, and it's just not. There's so many things that can happen, and we just tend to not talk about it. And we talk about all of the good things about pregnancy, and we might even talk about how your back was hurting and how my feet was hurting and how I'm exhausted, but a lot of times we don't talk about I'm experiencing this miscarriage, or I just delivered this baby that was not breathing, or my baby was alive and they spent their entire life in the hospital and we had to bury this baby. So it's a lot of gray area and a lot of stuff that nobody touches, and I'm here with you, and I do understand. I understand. So I want to just kind of use my platform a little bit more to address those issues and to be an advocate for women who deal with it and are trying to overcome it and feel alone. For me, being a godly woman helped me overcome such a crippling trial. Having a really solid foundation to fall on when my personal foundation was crumbling and it just wasn't enough helped me tremendously. It was pretty much the most important part of my healing and growing process. Me and my husband were literally only married for a year, maybe a little bit over a year, when we lost our first child together. So it was a lot. It took a toll on our relationship as one, and it just took a toll on the children. It was a really difficult thing to deal with. So with having such a new and fragile marriage without God and without Christ, I just don't see how we would have overcame it. I know couples deal with loss and they end up getting divorced. Their relationship is just never the same. Even knowing that death is only temporary and we have this eternal kingdom coming, just not having your children with you that you spent all this time creating in your womb and gaining this bond with them, and then even delivering them and then they end up passing, it's very difficult. It is a very difficult thing. And then for me, 3 years later, we were experiencing the same thing, so it just like kind of put us right back. I know for me, I can't really speak for my husband, but for me, it put me right back at square one, trying to regain that foundation and regain my strength and my faith and all of those things. It is, I cannot stress it enough, it is a hard thing to endure, but it's 100% possible. I was able to gain strength and get through the day-to-day of just grieving and all those things because of my faith in Christ. So with that being said, I do want to incorporate more of my Bible life or my walk with Christ, I guess you could say, on my platform. I just want to incorporate that more into my content because it is a magnosaurus part of my life, literally the focal point of my life. Being on social media, I do see a lot of women who are struggling to find their footing when it comes to how to follow Christ and give their life over to God. Social media definitely has this generation, my generation, and the generation underneath me in a chokehold, literally foot on the neck. And it is a little bit disheartening to see that God is pretty much pushed to the side and a lot of crap is just kind of spewed out on social media that has nothing to do with living a godly life. So I want to use my platform to magnify God, magnify Christ, magnify being a wife, magnify being a mom, magnify just being a godly woman and what that looks like and how that can affect your husband and how that could affect your children and how that just affects you in your everyday walk of life. I want to use my social media platforms to be more of a tool to help others than just leisure and playtime and BSing for myself. So obviously I'm a content creator. I am more of an Instagrammer. I be trying to get into TikTok, but I'm more of a TikTok consumer than a TikTok creator, and I'm trying to change that. I've just never really got my bearings when it comes to creating content. Yes, I have created content, but I never really felt like I was creating content that I absolutely loved. I always struggled with finding like what part of me or what part of my life was interesting enough to show the world. And I'm just realizing, y'all, with so much different stuff going viral, and the things that are going viral is just people just being themselves, that is enough. I don't have to try to sell myself or follow these certain trends or do any of those things. I can just be who I am. Just coming on the internet and being a wife, being a mom, being a godly woman it's just enough. I usually take these super long breaks and these hiatuses because I'm always trying to create this content that sells, and I end up creating content that I think other people will like, and it's not really what I like, and I try to follow like these different trends, and it just feels inauthentic to me, and it's not something that I'm proud of. So in this new era of me, baby, you're just gonna get who I am, you know, like this is me and this is who I am, and I'm gonna talk to my experiences and share those things with you, and I'm going to attract the people who need to be attracted to it, you know? So that's what you're gonna get. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a godly woman who struggles and dies daily trying to perfect my walk with Christ. I'm an advocate for women who have lost their children and don't know how to deal with the depression that comes along with it, who are first-time moms who don't know how to overcome the postpartum depression and all that. That is who I am. Nice to meet ya. So before I end this video, I just want to give you 4 little fun facts about me. I feel like this video was a very serious video, and I kind of want to lighten the mood. So here are 4 little fun facts, or just little facts about me, so that you can get to know me just a little more. Number 1 is that the way that you hear me talk is fake, y'all. It's fake. I'm from Texas. I don't talk like this. I have a little bit of a southern accent, and I have learned over the years to conceal it because people do tend to make fun of you and mimic you and mock you when you do have that southern accent. And I don't like that. So I have learned to talk a different way so that they do not get to do that to me. Sometimes it slips out, you know, when I'm talking and stuff. You can only conceal it so much. Sometimes it does slip out, especially when I'm talking to like my mom and my sisters, or if I get really comfortable with you, like my husband, he hears it, and like my friends, they hear it. But yeah, this is fake. It's all fake. Fun fact 2 is I graduated high school at 16. This is a really big accomplishment of mine, so I do want to brag about it for just a second. So when I was in middle school in the 8th grade, I was in this program called Inquire Academy, and we took 9th grade classes when I was in the 8th grade. So when I got to 8th grade, I had enough high school credits that I pretty much completed the 9th grade, and I was able to just get bumped up to the 10th grade. So I was like 12 or 13 in the 10th grade. So yeah. So I graduated high school when I was 16, and then I went to college when I was 17. And another little fact to add on to this little tidbit is when I was in college and I was in art school, and we would go to like different field trips, different museums and things like that, I would literally have to get a permission slip signed from my guardian, even though I was in college. So there's that. Number 3 is I got stitches when I was 8 or 9 years old, right here on my arm. It's a little scar. I don't know if you can see it. It's very small now, but let me tell y'all this story, child. So my sister JL, she's 1 year younger than me. I think I was like 8 or 9, so she was either 7 or 8. I'm not sure, but she was afraid of the dark, and she wanted to sleep in my room with me. So what I wanted to do was take the light bulb out of my room and put it into the hallway so we could sleep with the hall light on, and I could crack my door so the light could shine in for a little night light moment, right? So I made this makeshift ladder. I had this desk that my mom got for me, and I stacked up some textbooks, and then I put this dollar store chair. It was a yellow little plastic dollar store chair right on top of all those books, and the chair was already broken. So I climb myself up there, and I'm trying to get the light bulb, and I'm wobbling, and I fell right on the desk, and I fell like this. So I had on this pink silk robe, and it had these red hearts all over it, and I was holding on to my arm, right? Me and my sister were like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, my arm is hurting. I'm holding on. In my brain, I'm like, my arm is kind of hurting a little bit. We're laughing, and then JL just stops laughing, and she starts pointing and doing this silent scream cry, like like that. So I'm like, what? I look down, my arm is bleeding. I didn't take my hand off. I just see blood. I'm like, oh shoot, my arm is bleeding. So I'm like, shh, be quiet. My mom is downstairs. She's taking a bath. I hear her running up the stairs. I'm like, oh, I'm about to get in trouble. I hear her running up the stairs. She's like, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. I'm crying. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Okay, so I go into the hallway, right? My mom flips on the bathroom light. We had a little bathroom right in the hallway. She flips on the bathroom light. She's like, move your hand. Let me see. I move my hand, and the robe is still covering my arm, but it's like in my arm, y'all. It's like in my arm. So my mom like lifts up my robe. You can see bone. You know, you scrape your knee, you can see the white, no baby, bone. You can see the bone, and the bone was not red. It was pure white, like there was no blood on it. So she was like, oh my God, what did you do? And I'm like, I'm sorry. Because my mama had told me not to climb up there, and I did it anyway. So that whole thing, went to the hospital, got stitches. It was crazy. But yeah, got stitches because I was being rebellious to my mama. Honor thy father and mother, and listen to your parents. And that's why this happens. Literally, another thing to add on to that, the doctor said I almost severed a vein in my arm that would have caused me to bleed out and die had I been like a half an inch closer to the vein. So by the grace of God, I'm here, you know, all praises. And the last fun fact is I did not know that I was having twins until I was like 20 weeks pregnant. Okay, let me tell you the story. I did tell this story on TikTok, but if you haven't heard it. So I went to my doctor's appointment as usual. I was getting an anatomy scan to find out the gender of the children. And this is not my first sonogram or ultrasound or anything like that. I had I think 2 sonograms prior to this, maybe 3. So I'm laying there and she's doing her thing. And normally when you go, the screens are in front of you. The screen was back here. That was my first time being pregnant. Any other pregnancy I've had since then, the screen is always in the front of me, but whatever. The screen was back here. I didn't think anything was weird. I laid on the table. I'm laying there as I do the other times before, and she is scanning and she's starting to push harder and harder on my stomach, and I'm like, okay, ow, that's hurting a little bit. So she's like, oh, this is just looking a little strange to me. Could you get up for me and walk around a little bit? So I start walking around. She's like, could you drink some water? I drink the water. She's like, okay, hop back on the table. Let me check again. So I'm getting a little nervous. I'm like, is everything okay? Like, what's up? I'm trying to look behind me, but I can't see the screen. And she's like, oh, nothing. It's just, I'm trying to see what's going on here because something is looking a little odd to me. So we go back and forth of me trying to get her to tell me, and she would not tell me. So she finally says, oh, it kind of just looks like your baby has 3 legs. So I'm like, what? 3 legs? So I'm getting nervous, and automatically in my head I'm like, I'm about to have a 3-legged baby. So I'm thinking of how I'm gonna get the baby in the car seat, all these different things. I'm just thinking about all this different stuff. So she's moving my stomach around and doing all these things, and then she finally goes, oh wow. And I'm like, what? She's like, it's twins, congratulations. And I'm like, what? I'm 20 weeks pregnant. What do you mean it's twins? So apparently my sacks, the twins are fraternal, and they're wearing 2 different sacks. They was like this and not like this. They was one behind the other. So that's why they were not shown, I guess, on the ultrasound, because they were one in front of the other. That's how I found out I was having twins, and then I found out the gender, and yeah, so that's that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned some new things about me, and if you'd like to stay updated from like my day-to-day life and stuff like that, you can follow me on Instagram and follow my socials. I will leave them in the description box below. Another thing I did want to say is that we do have a family vlog channel that I will be integrating into this channel, just to have one channel. I will leave all the videos up over there. I'm not going to delete anything or try to transfer anything over. I'm not doing any of that. Just moving forward, any vlogs that we have will be on this channel. So yeah, I don't know if that will be permanent or temporary, but for right now, that's the direction that we're gonna go in. So I hope I see you guys in the next video, and yeah, bye mamas.